Hello, and welcome to Data Unmasked, a monthly live stream event hosted by ACEDS and HaystackID. During this webinar, or live stream actually, we delve into the fascinating world of data, covering a wide range of topics, including discovery, management, data management, privacy, and cybersecurity. I am excited today. I'm joined by Todd Tabor. Todd is the SVP of Forensic Operations at HaystackID. Hey, Todd.
Good morning. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it as well, especially because at this point in time, I feel like forensics is in the spotlight more often than not, with lots of people talking about data breaches, data investigations. Mobile collections is huge, right? But we're also seeing a lot more people talking about on-premise collections as well. So I'm excited for the conversation to educate myself as well as our audience. So thank you. Um,
Absolutely.
so I've got a few questions for you. So hopefully we'll get through them all. But if you have any questions for our audience too, please feel free to share those. You've worked across corporate breaches and global forensic operations. What through line have you seen in how investigations succeed or fail over time?
Well, from my time doing this and for our particular practice, it seems to me that if you maintain good process, follow good process, and focus on the data, the ones and the zeros, and wherever they lead you, you'll have a successful investigation. It's when you go outside that focus on the ones and the zeros, or you step outside your process because of expediency or because somebody needs you to do something really quickly, or they want to change something because they don't particularly like the way you use that software, that you're going to have a problem. It happens almost every time.
Interesting. So, question for you there: how do you prepare a client who comes to you? And this is not on my prep questions with you, but when a client does say, "Hey, this is an urgent matter," and how do you prep them for that? How do you get that process started with them so that you don't have to worry about failing over that time period?
Well, we try to scope it, and give them a reasonable timeline and say, okay, so these things, they take time. You can't get ahead of the physics of things,
Right.
and um, and it takes just so long to move data across a wire. It takes so long to copy so much data, and you know it takes reasonable people a long time to analyze 2 terabytes of data off a machine. And we can go fast and maybe miss something, or we can do it right and not have to do it again. If you've got time to do it again, you've got time to do it right.
Love that. I feel like that's a quote we need to share more often across e-discovery. As SVP of Forensics at HaystackID, you know firsthand that advanced tools fails without strong processes. Can you share an example where process discipline made the difference in a high-stakes investigation?
Um, Tools fail all the time.
Okay.
Advanced tools fail all the time, and it's the process that clues you into when the tools fails. Because
Okay.
if you have a constant process, you have a general idea of what you should be seeing at what time. And if you're getting wild results, then then you know you've probably got a problem, and you either need to switch tools or start over. And in our practice, we have a lot of high profile people, and we do a lot of phone collections. And mobile phone collection is inherently disruptive for most people, and they don't like to give up their phones for any reason.
Yeah.
And so we recently had a CEO of a company that had a phone that needed to be collected, and he really didn't want to give up that phone. And it just turned out that it had a corrupted plist chain, and it took forever to process. It took like 13 hours, or it was going to take 13 hours to process. And fortunately, my technician knew immediately that we had a problem, so we had to switch tools, start over, and then we did, the processing of the P list on the back end. So that kept us in line with his deadline. We had the phone for about 24 hours, which drove him crazy, but at least we got the phone back to him before he had to get on a plane country.
Okay. All right. Well, it has to be done, right? Sometimes we have to inconvenience people, especially with mobile phones. So running a forensics practice across borders, right, which we often see, means different jurisdictions and legal systems. How do you ensure consistency and quality in findings when standards vary so widely?
Well, our standards don't vary.
Okay,
We have SOPs that we follow, whether we're collecting in Moscow, Russia, or Moscow, Idaho.
got it.
So our documentation stays the same, our SOP process stays the same, and we have a consistent look at the data. So that's how we maintain a consistent quality process.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about technical tools. They get the spotlight all the time, but the human aspects outweigh them, especially now where everyone's talking about AI tools and everything else, but we forget about the human factor in all of these things. What does that look like in practice? How do you train your teams to navigate it?
Well, like I said earlier, tools fail, and
Yeah,
they're the variable point in all investigations, especially when you're talking about the complexities of some of the newer technologies or mobile phones, where it's a spy versus spy type of situation, where the operating system is not a set standard, and the collection, there's no cooperation between the manufacturer and the software manufacturer, the operating system manufacturer and the software manufacturer. So there's an awful lot of time pressure there, and what we teach is you have to stay calm under that pressure, whether it's an attorney or a custodian that's upset at you. You just have to remain calm, work the problem, and follow your process. And you
interesting.
can't teach temperament, but you can
Right.
teach skill, but you can't teach temperament. So that's our biggest challenge, is to find people with the right temperament.
Yeah, and having to work with so many with CEOs or lawyers or others, quite often you have to understand, I guess, customer service, right? When as a
Absolutely.
forensics professional, you need to have those customer service skills. And I'm assuming your teams are trained across the board on various different types of forensic tools as well as processes.
That's right.
Excellent.
All types of tools, all types of processes, and on an ongoing basis.
So we've been hearing about the dangers of emerging threats like deep fakes, right? For the last few years, that raise both technical and courtroom, sorry, that raise both technical and evidentiary challenges. How are forensic teams adapting their detection and courtroom presentation methods to keep pace? I feel like this is and especially like with other things like VR and all the different types of data sources that are now coming into play.
Sure. Well, I think to some extent, deep fakes are a variation on a theme that it's just all fraud. But
Yeah.
and they say there's nothing new under the sun. So it's just a different tool, and the tools get better every day. And so what we've had to do is invest in a variety of tools that can handle this new world we live in, where um, you can't trust your eyes necessarily, whether it's on YouTube or on the nightly news. So
Yeah.
it's a bizarre thing. So
And
we go ahead.
and does that also, with regards to audio as well? I mean, I assume not just video, but audio and
Hmm.
text. Now that you can create examples, I feel like there was that one case several years ago where people tried to replace emojis. That things like that will be even more right in the future. We'll start to see more and more deep fakes like that as well.
Oh yeah, and there's a band on Spotify. I think it's called Velvet Sundown. That's a completely AI band, and
Oh,
and it's it's getting millions of downloads,
oh,
and
that's interesting.
the music is wild, and the question becomes, you know, who owns that music? What is is it because it's all AI learning? So they've taken that the collective learning from thousands and thousands of recordings over the last 60 years and meshed it all together and kicked out some songs. And some of the songs are pretty good, and
Yeah,
they're hard to tell whether they're fakes or not. So you have to pull them apart to determine
interesting.
that.
So when you are faced, so is there a method to that if you are coming across, when you're doing a forensic examination, when you get something, you don't automatically know that it's a deep fake. So
No.
what rings those bells to say, hey, this is something you should look into a little bit further?
Well, their audio tells audio deepfakes often can't handle English idiomatic expressions, so you'll hear that. If you're looking at video of someone talking, the mouths don't line up. If you're looking at pictures, look at fingers, look at ears, because they'll often be, they won't match up. If you're looking at text, there's an overuse of commas and colons that people just don't write with in text.
Yeah,
So those are pretty immediate tells that get you to start looking further and drilling down
yeah,
further.
yeah. And our younger generations, I don't think they even use commas or any type of
Well, at least my nieces and nephews don't,
okay.
and rarely use
Well,
capital letters.
there you go. I agree. So, as AI tools become more common in an investigation, sorry, what risks do you see if teams rely too heavily on the technology and high stress? How do you keep quality standards consistent when speed is non-negotiable?
Well, I think you have to understand what got you there. I don't think you can
Right.
just push a button and get a result and say, okay, that's the result. You have to understand. You have to work backwards from the result and say, okay, does this make sense? And to understand that, you have to work all the different tools. And what we do is we do a peer review of everything that goes out before we commit to it, and we look at it through a number of different lenses. So
Interesting. Are there any particular AI tools that you're seeing right now in investigation use?
um, we've looked at a bunch, and we've demoed several. We haven't necessarily committed to any particular ones yet.
Got it. For professionals entering or advancing in digital forensics, what's the one skill, technical or human, or maybe you want to touch on both, right? Maybe
Mhm.
it depends on the person, going back to the skill set, you believe will define like their success over the next decade. And and then I'm going to build off of that one.
Hmm. I think there are two. I think you have to be able to communicate um, verbally with people, which seems to be a skill that's becoming lost for some reason. You have to be able to explain what you're doing
Yeah.
in a way that that people that don't do what you do every day can understand. Um, and um, and I think that's super important because you're dealing with people's uh, sometimes their most personal data, and you need to put them at ease that A, you know what you're doing, and B, you're not going to misuse their data. And you also need a genuine curiosity about what you're doing. There needs to be some intellectual curiosity. Um, we can teach how to use the tools. That's pretty simple. Um, and if you're interested in the process at all, you'll pick up on the skills. But it's those intangibles, the communication, the intellectual curiosity that you can't teach. You have to have that coming in.
So how do we're in a world of e-discovery and legal technology where we know that quite often we're like, where does that new generation come in, right, into this world? And so how does one get started? How do we get started in forensics and build up like an interest for that? How would you get started? How would you find the right people for that?
I find them all over the place. I find video gamers and technicians, computer technicians, and ex cops, and all kinds of people. It's a variety, and it's not just that's a profile. It's just
Yeah.
that it's people that have a particular interest. And our interview process is pretty laborious. It takes a couple of weeks just to just to get through that interview process with us. You're going to sit with 5 or 6 people before you even think about getting an offer.
Awesome. So if you're a video gamer and you want to get into forensics, right, data
Mm-hmm.
forensics, and what would you tell them to do?
I'd say start looking at at all the forensic softwares videos that are on YouTube or the various video platforms that are out there. There's a ton of information. There's a ton of blogs, forensic blogs that are out there. Subscribe to those. Um, you know, learn what's out there. There's a ton of free information, and you can even download some free tools and work on your own
and,
stuff and
and
take a
build a
look at
skill
it
set?
and build a skill set. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Awesome. Well, what other things can we share? What else do you want to talk about when it comes to forensics that we haven't touched upon yet?
Hmm. Uh,
Is there anything upcoming?
that's a pretty wide open question. Um,
Yeah.
well, there's all this. I guess there's a lot of international stuff that I think is on the horizon.
Yeah.
All this cross border stuff that I think is just outside of our current consciousness horizon. That's going to kick up, and I think we're going to see a lot more um, fake stuff coming out of that.
Interesting. Can we dig into that one a little bit more when it comes to what are you seeing on the horizon as far as cross-border?
Well, there's an awful lot of fake documents now, and
Yes.
I think those documents are getting more and more um, sophisticated. And as those cross-border documents get more and more sophisticated, I think they'll become more and more AI generated, and I think that's something to worry about.
Are the tools keeping up with as quickly as the I know AI is every day there's a new model, every day there's something else going on. How are the tools in forensics keeping up with that as
Tools and
quickly?
laws never keep up with what the nefarious people are
Or,
doing.
yeah,
But they are getting faster in their response times. We are way ahead of where we were 24 months ago, and with respect to response from our tool providers. So it is much faster, flash to bang now.
awesome. Well, Todd, that's everything I have. Quick question for you to finalize everything is, where will you be next? Where can people hear you speak or see you or reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and you can reach out to me at Tabor at HaystackID.com.
Awesome. Well,
And I
thank you
don't know
so
where we're going to be speaking next, but I'm sure it'll be at some conference. I'm at several conferences a year, so
Yeah,
be looking for me there.
we've got conference season coming up, so here we go,
Yeah,
on the roller coaster again. Awesome. Todd, thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure. Always love to learn a little bit more, especially on forensics, which I'm still learning, but now I'm going to go dig into YouTube after this to see if I can learn some new skills. Thank you, everyone, for joining ACEDS and Haystack ID, and we will see you next month on Data Unmasked.